Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Weekly Wildlife Wisdom. So far, I've been your host, Zero Yeti, and happy Pride Month as well as happy Dinosaur Day. And this Dinosaur Day, we're going to be looking at the Tendaguru Formation of Tanzania, which dates back to the late Jurassic period, beginning with the first animal of the week being Giraffatitan, a genus of sauropod dinosaur that lived throughout what is now Africa during the late Jurassic period, some 150 to 145 million years ago. The first remains, now known to belong to Giraffatitan, consist of a relatively complete skeleton which was recovered in 1909 from Quarry Site D at the Tendaguru Formation in what was then German East Africa and was today Tanzania. During the first year of the Natural History Museum of Berlin expeditions, organized by geologist William von Branca and led by Werner Janich and Edwin Henning. From 1909 to 1912, nearly 250 tons of fossils would be excavated, which include the remains of several more Giraffatitan specimens, including 5 fairly complete skeletons. Such remains were eventually described and named by Werner Janich as Brachiosaurus bronchi in 1914, as he found the animals to be very similar to the North American genus Brachiosaurus. The species name bronchi was in honor of William von Branca. In 1988, Gregory S. Paul published a new reconstruction of the skeleton of B. bronchi, highlighting the differences in proportion between it and B. altithorax and suggesting the two be separate at the subgenus level as Brachiosaurus altithorax and Brachiosaurus giraffatitan bronchi. Giraffatitan was raised to a full genus level by George Olszewski in 1991. However, this change was largely disregarded by other researchers. In a detailed 2009 study by Taylor of all material, including the limb and girdle bones, found that there were significant divergences between B. altithorax and the Tendaguru material in all elements known from both species. And in 2012, the genus was again formally recognized as distinct, reaching up to 85 feet or 26 meters in length and 45 feet or 13.7 meters tall, and weighing around 53 tons or 48 metric tons. For many decades, Brachiosaurus, aka Giraffatitan, was considered to be the largest dinosaur known. This was until the later part of the 20th century, where it was surpassed by several genera of titanosaurs. Next up, we have Elaphrosaurus, a genus of ceratosaurian theropod dinosaur which lived throughout what is now Africa as well as possibly western North America, China, and the Middle East during the late Jurassic period, some 155 to 145 million years ago. The type specimen, consisting of a partial skeleton, was collected from rocks near Tendaguru Hill in what is now Tanzania by Werner Janisch, I. Salmin, H. Reck, and Parkinson in 1910. These remains were described and named by Werner Janisch in 1920 as Elaphrosaurus bambergi. The genus name Elaphrosaurus is derived from the Greek words elaphros, meaning light to bear, as in light-footed, a reference to its presumed high running speed, and sauros, meaning lizard. Thus, the name means light-footed lizard. The specific name honors the naturalist Paul Bamberg for his financial support of the Tendaguru expeditions. Since then, several more, albeit isolated and partial remains, have been recovered, including some ribs, vertebrae, some arm and hand bones, and a pair of scapulocoracoids. Similar such remains have been found throughout the Morrison Formation of western North America and the Shaxmal Formation of China, which may belong to the same genus. Notably, a series of footprints found in the Niger Republic and a separate trackway in Israel have been attributed to Elaphrosaurus, or at least an Elaphrosaurus-like dinosaur, though the later is considered to be inconclusive. reach around 19.7 to 20.3 feet, or 6 to 6.2 meters in length, and around 4.8 feet, or 1.46 meters tall at the hips, and around 440 to 460 pounds, or 200 to 210 kilograms in weight. Elaphrosaurus was a long and slender animal with an elongated S-shaped neck and comparatively short hind legs for a theropod of its size. In life, Elaphrosaurus is believed to have been likely omnivorous, feeding upon a variety of plants, fish, invertebrates, mammals, lizards, amphibians, pterosaurs, and small ornithopod dinosaurs. Next up, we have Lepidotes. It is an extinct genus of ray-finned fish which lived throughout freshwater and shallow marine environments around the world throughout the Jurassic period. Lepidotes belongs to the Gingillimodi, a clade of fish whose only living representatives are the gars in the family Lepisauridae. The first known remains of Lepidotes, consisting of an almost complete specimen found from the Upper Lias group in Bavaria in the 1810s. This specimen, which is currently housed in the Paris Museum of Natural History, was named described by Henri Marie du Crotet de Blandeville in 1818. However, he believed it to be a member of the still extant carp genus Cyprinus. The name Lepidotes wouldn't be coined until 1832 by Jean-Louis Rudolphe Agassiz, who described a 12-inch or 30-centimeter long specimen found in early Jurassic Age rocks in what is now Germany. The name Lepidotes comes from the Greek lepidotos, meaning covered in scales. This is in reference to how many Lepidote specimens were preserved with multiple rows of thick oval scales, which are smooth and shiny on the external surface, with only a few small depressions scattered throughout and towards the center, that were shaped like punctures. This genus was quickly turned into a notorious wastebasket taxon for many similar-looking fossil fish. Over time, dozens of different lepidote species were named, many of them rather dubious, from locations all around the world and spanning a time period of over 100 million years. In the early 2010s, a large-scale review of the Gingli-Modian relationships found that many lepidote species were either invalid or polyphyletic, belonging in completely different genera or families. Many forms were moved to newer genera such as Schienestia and Caliperbeckia, and currently just 4 lepidote species are confirmed to be valid, being L. gigas, L. elevensis, L. semicerratus, and L. bulowenanus. Lepidotes is one of the earliest fish in which the upper jaw bones are no longer attached to the jungle bone. This allowed the jaws to be stretched into a tube so that the fish could suck in prey from a greater distance than in previous species. This system is still seen in some modern fish, such as carp. Next up, we have Ostafricasaurus, a potentially dubious genus of theropod dinosaur which lived throughout what is now the Lindi region of Tanzania during the late Jurassic period, some 152 to 145 million years ago. It is only known from fossil teeth collected between 1909 and 1912 during the Natural History Museum of Berlin's expeditions to the Tendaguru Formation. 8 teeth were originally attributed to the dubious dinosaur genus Labrosaurus and later to Ceratosaurus, both known from the North American Morrison Formation. Subsequent studies attributed 2 of these teeth to a Spinosaurid dinosaur, and in 2012, Ostafricasaurus crassicerratus was named by French paleontologist Eric Buffetant, with one tooth as the holotype, and the other referred to the same species. The generic name comes from the German word for German East Africa. and the former name of the colony in which the fossils were found, while the specific name comes from Latin words for thick and serrated, in reference to the form of the animal's teeth. The holotype tooth is 44 millimeters or 1.8 inches long and has a curved front edge as well as being oval shaped in cross section. The tooth shows serrations that for Spinosaur standards are unusually large, more so than in any other known taxon. Due to the highly incomplete nature of the current material, the body size of Ostafrikasaurus cannot be reliably calculated. Among the oldest known spinosaurid fossils, Ostafrikasaurus may be of importance in understanding the evolutionary origins of spinosaurids and their anatomical adaptations. From comparisons with its later relative, Ostafrikasaurus, indicates that spinosaur teeth became more conical and lost their serrations throughout their evolution. This is possibly a result of becoming more specialized for a piscivorous diet, and has been suggested for the family based on fossil evidence and the semi-aquatic adaptations exhibited in many species. Next up, we have Disolatosaurus, a genus of herbivorous dryasaurid iguanodontian ornithopod dinosaur, which lived throughout what is now the Lindi region in Tanzania during the late Jurassic period, so 155 to 145 million years ago. During the Natural History Museum of Berlin expeditions to the Tendaguru Formation from 1909 to 1913, thousands of bones, now known to be Disolatosaurus, were unearthed representing individuals of various growth stages, many of which are believed to have belonged to the same large herd that was killed in a mass death event such as a flash flood. Many of these specimens were examined and described by Hans Virchow in 1919, who named the animal Disolatosaurus Letterovorbeki. The genus name means uncatchable lizard in Greek, and the specific name is in honor of the Imperial German Army officer Paul von Letterovorbeki. Reaching around 8.2 feet or 2.5 meters in length and 180 pounds or 80 kilograms in weight, Disolatosaurus, was a small, relatively basal ornithopod. It lacked the large thumb spikes found in later iguanodontians and was more adapted for bipedalism than its larger relatives, with its short front limbs and long, counterbalancing tail. Disolatosaurus had powerful and long hind limbs, suggesting it was a relatively cursorial animal compared to iguanodon and other members of the clade. In life, a Disolatosaurus would have lived in and traveled in herds, and fed upon low-growing vegetation, likely occupying a niche similar to modern gazelles and deer. Next up, we have Veterupristosaurus. It is an extinct genus of Carcharodontosaurid theropod dinosaur, which lived throughout what is now the Lindi region of Tanzania during the late Jurassic period, some 155 to 150 million years ago. Veterupristosaurus is known from the holotype specimen MBR 1938, an isolated middle caudal vertebrae that was collected from the middle dinosaur member of the Tendaguru Formation during the Natural History Museum of Berlin expeditions to the region. The vertebrae was initially named and described as Ceratosaurus rochalingi by Werner Janissich in 1925. Since then, two partially fused posterior middle caudal vertebrae and an anterior caudal vertebrae, which were found in the same locality as the holotype, have been referred to this animal. The name Veterupristosaurus wouldn't arise until 2011, when after extensive review and research, Oliver W. M. Rahut found the remains to instead belong to a Carcharodontosaurid, which he named Veterupristosaurus milneri. The generic name translates to old shark lizard and refers to the fact that Veteropristosaurus is currently the oldest known representative of the Carcharodontosaurids, aka the shark-toothed lizards. The specific name honors paleontologist Angela C. Milner, based on comparing the vertebrae to that of the more complete, closely related Acrocanthosaurus. Veteropristosaurus is estimated to have reached around 26 feet or 8 meters in length and weighed in at around 1.82 tons or 1.65 metric tons. It should be noted that there are numerous Carcharodontosaur-like teeth from the Tendaguru Formation that probably belong to Veteropristosaurus, but until a more complete individual is found, this cannot be confirmed. And last but not least, we have Dicraeosaurus, a genus of diplodocid sauropod dinosaur that lived throughout what is now the Lindi region of Tanzania during the late Jurassic period, 755 to 145 million years ago. The remains of multiple individuals were unearthed during the Natural History Museum of Berlin's expeditions to the Tendaguru Formation, including the type specimen recovered in 1913, consisting of a well-preserved partial skeleton, which was found in natural articulation. The animal was described and named by Werner Ernst Martin Janisch in 1914, who dubbed the animal as Dicraeosaurus hansemani. The genus name means bifurcated or double-headed lizard in Greek, and is a reference to the distinctive neural spines on the back of its neck. Janisch would additionally name a second species, D. satelleri, later that same year. Both species remain valid, reaching around 45 to 49 feet or 14 to 15 meters in length and standing around 10 to 12 feet or 3 to 3.6 meters tall and weighing at around 5.5 to 6.6 tons or 5 to 6 metric tons in weight. Dicraeosaurus was smaller than many other diplodocids, yet larger than many members of its family Dicraeosauridae. Further, unlike most diplodocids, Dicraeosaurus had a comparatively large head with a relatively short and wide neck, which contained just 12 unusually short vertebrae. Dicraeosaurus also lacked the whiplash tail tip typical of diplodocids. The genus is notable for the rather tall neurospines protruding from its vertebrae, which it is named for. They are not straight, as in some members of the family, instead forming a rough Y shape. These spines likely provided muscle attachment points, and in life, Dicraeosaurus would have fulfilled the role of mid-sized browsing herbivore in the Tendaguru ecosystem. As always, take care to my guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Hope you have a wonderful Pride Month and a wonderful Dinosaur Day.